Our next guest will talk about making archaeological sites accessible. He is director of the Spanish Architect Bureau Equal Planning, Building and Accessibility. He teaches at the University of Jaén, and he is also the Spanish expert of Accessible EU. Delfin Jimenez Martin will talk about heritage sites, how we can make them accessible, and he will also discuss 2 case studies from sites in Spain. Mr. Delfin Jimenez Martin, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Well, hello everybody. Spanish speaker for a siesta time. Good strategy, Kathleen. Well, good afternoon, everybody. All of you stay here in this excellent place. And also, good afternoon, all of you are following online. And let me introduce myself. I'm Delfin Jimenez from Madrid. I'm an architect. I'm a member of Architecture for All from UIA, and also a member of Accessible EU a member. Well, and today I'm going to talk about accessibility in archaeological sites with 2 case studies in Spain. Baelo Claudia in Cádiz and Cáparra, Cáceres. Well, 2 Roman stories for you, siesta. Let's go. First of all, indicate some singularities of this type of heritage, because it's not a building. And then it's not an element, it's a set of elements. Also, it's important the significant distance. We need routes, many routes sometimes, or different routes to understand the place. Also, different scales. We need to check a general accessibility, and also the accessibility of the elements, and also accessibility of the details, different scales. And which brings us to a singular consideration in the intervention strategy that this morning my colleagues explained. Let's go with the first of them, Baelo Claudia. In this map from Roman times, we see that Baelo is in the south of Spain, near of Cádiz, modern-day Cádiz. And nowadays, we can easily identify 2 areas. In the southern area, the industrial district with all salting factories and homes, but today only a beach. And in the central part, the forum, with different representative buildings. And in general, also other elements and areas of interest, such as the Cardus and the Cumanus, the temples, the baths, the theater, and others. You can see in the figure the current aerial photo of the area and a model recreation of the Roman city. Well, but now the visit you can divide in 3 moments, 3 phases. The first one is when we arrive with the parking and entrance. After that, the interpretation center, and at the end, the tour of the site. Well, the first one, the access. Here you can see the parking and the entrance with the parking space for people with PRM, and also the door identification, the pavement leveling, because before that there is 1 or 2 steps. But the interpretation center recently built already has accessibility incorporated from the design phase. There is a lift, there is accessible toilet, there is a clear signage, and there are raised areas. I think there's no big problems here. But then we live in the center and we head towards the old city along the newly built paths. It's important to say that here the impact of the weather is a critical factor in these areas, different from indoor heritage. When we design, the design contemplates the use of different pavements according to each zone. One of the critical accessibility points of the area where the pavements change. In general, it's well resolved, and sometimes there are discontinuities due to a lack of maintenance. It's very difficult, but in general, I think it's no big problems. The sides of the paths are used to drain or channel water. In other cases, a metal base is available to bridge the unevenness and serve an orientation and guidance elements. You can see in the figures a side with drain and the right side an example of a guidance element with the base. Well, this for main paths. On other secondary paths, there is a compact natural pavement and a handrail as a viewpoint. This is a second type of spaces. And finally, to the right, on paths that are not open to visitors, there is a gravel pavement, not for use, only to identify the route. Even if it's not possible to walk along them, but it's important to identify where is the streets. And to save some points of interest, where there are excavated elements, for instance, some parts of the wall or some houses, a steel grating pavement is provided, and then you can pass, but you can see the element. Well, perhaps in this case, the size is not the most suitable for a cane or high heel shoes, but in general, it's a very useful solution. In the theater, the access to the stage area has also been adapted. This was a premise of the project, because from there it's easier to see what the wall space was like. And about signage, in addition to the original signage, to your right, a sign with high relief, color contrast, and explanation in clear language is added. Yes. You can use both of them in the different parts of the route. Also, skirting boards and handrails are also used for directional signage or for easier identification of main streets. Here in the figure you have two examples with where is the Cumano Maximo or you are in a paving for thermals. Well, and let's go with the other example. The other example is Cáparra in Cáceres, province of Cáceres, and it's a small town in the Roman province of Bética, right along the Via de la Plata, one of the most important Roman roads that cross the peninsula from north to south, for transport, especially silver and other products, for instance, the garum from Baelo Claudia. And today, only a small part of the site has been excavated, but the two main axes, the Cardus and the Cumanus, can be clearly identified. And also the city wall and the different gates, the different city gates. Well, now the two visitable areas are located, one to the south, outside the wall, and the other in the center of the ancient city. Well, let's go to know a little bit more about that. In the archaeological zone 1 is where the access with the car park and the interpretation center is located. There is also the amphitheater and the access to the city through one of the gates. This is the first part. And in the second area, in the second one, we have the forum with the double arc in the cross of Cardus and the Cumanus. Is the most famous element of the city. You can see in all pictures from tourism, but also in this area is the thermal baths and some domus. Well, similar to the other example, the interpretation center is a new construction with an accessible toilet and an exhibition space that explains how people lived there. And there are great effort has been made in signposting with numbering of each of the points of interest with a situation map in the city with a QR code with explanatory audio and a descriptive text in Spanish and English indicating and an arrow indicating the direction of which the visit continues to guidance to a tourist in the visit. The paths, because I'm sure you see that the paths and the pavements is the most important intervention in these areas. Paths have been compacted and firm pavement, and skirting has been provided in the most degraded sections. You can see on the left a compacted and firm pavement, and on the right side a skirting has been provided in a very degraded area. Well, special attention has been paid to the meeting point between different types of paving and to drainage for the water. And on the other hand, the areas with steps do not have a very adequate accessibility characteristics. You can see it's necessary to improve. Although now there is an alternative accessible path around them. You can use other route. It's interesting for me, in particularly noteworthy, the arrangement of benches and static supports in the viewing platform of the main arc of the forum, because it's the main element, and all people want to stop, stay, take photos, comments, to read the panel, and then many people needs rest, and in these areas is very important because not everybody can do a visit of heritage without rest. The static support is easy to incorporate. For people that sit down is a problem sometimes. Also in this area, there are a second parking for people with disabilities, thinking in people who cannot walk long distance, because between the first zone and the second zone, maybe are 200 or 300 meters, not so much, but maybe some people is a problem, and is easier for them to use this second parking. Also, there is a plan with high relief, with braille, textures, and chromatic contrast. Well, to finish, as a summary on some singularities, difference as a heritage building, when considering the accessibility of these environments. First, the larger dimension, more elements, more distance, more complexity. The second, we have outdoor routes, and then the maintenance in the open air. Outdoor is always more difficult. Third, the slopes, protections, connections, and pavement changes. You can see is the main problem, maybe. Also, the wide funding along the route, because it's easy when you have different options that maybe you can lose, or maybe you can don't enjoy the main element because you choose other route. The information at points of interest, very clear, very accessible points. The rest points, and especially in the viewpoints, I think this is very important. Not only when we think in accessibility, no, it's not only for people with. So when we think in accessibility, it's not only for people with disabilities. Many cases of old people or people with children, and anybody. For everybody, it's a good idea to provide rest points in heritage in general, but in this type of heritage with this dimension is important. And understanding the different scales, the global scales, and then understand where is the walls, where the axis, to identify and understand the elements, where is the forum, how are the baths, and also the details and the accessibility of the details, the arc, the column, the mosaic. We have a heritage that we need to explain in different scales. And it's important that we transmit properly all the information, because many times only we focus the accessibility only in one scale, and maybe explain only the details or only the general point of view, And it's important that all visitors have and get an holistic and understood of the place. Well, that's all. Thank you very much.
Dank u wel, meneer Delfin.
Thank you, Mr. Delfin Jimenez, about the presentation about the challenges in making archaeological sites accessible.